Hi everyone, welcome. It's Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, so it's time for Stamping with Denise. I'm so glad you're here today. Did everybody survive the winter storm over the weekend? I hope you've got power, because it's a cold one out there. Michigan here is really cold, actual air temperature below zero several times this weekend. But you know what, we're Michigan, we're kind of prepared for it. I feel sorry for the people down south in North Carolina and Georgia and that South Carolina who aren't used to this kind of weather and thus aren't prepared for it. So I hope everybody's safe and warm tonight. Little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Please, if you like my video, please share my video, comment share down in these comments, and you will be entered. Your name will be entered in a drawing to win the project I work on tonight. The last time we were together, I did this fun fold. And because she shared, she commented, and her name was chosen, this card is going to go out to B. Williams. So B, thank you so much. I always appreciate your willingness to share my videos. It helps build my small business and doesn't cost you anything. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. And then once you do, click that little blue bell and you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video, which is most every Monday night. Okay, so tonight I have a fun fold to show you. It's an easel card, and it's probably, I like this layout, and I think it's pretty practical, and I wanted to share it with you because I haven't done one in a while. So I'm gonna switch to my hands and we're gonna get started. So here's my easel card. See, it mails in a normal size envelope, but then you fold this up and look at that. Now understand, you can do this in any kind of color combinations you want, so this could very easily be a masculine card. For the designer series paper, I pulled out an oldie that is still available, a beautiful Bokeh, I think that's called, 6x6. It's been around a while, but it's got some great subtle patterns. You guys know what you guys are familiar with this. It's been around, like I said, for over a year. But I just pulled it out because I didn't want too much pattern to distract from the card. Say, I want to ask you all, I'd love to hear your suggestions. When I send someone an easel card, a lot of times they don't know that it's an easel card. So what do? Do you put a little note in there telling them it's an easel card and maybe a little diagram or something, how to put it together to display it? I'd like to hear your comments. So, okay, we'll set that right there for now. I'm sure I'll have to move it out of the way once I get busy. So, let's start here. Hold on, I got two piles of paper because one for the inside and one for the outside. Okay. Here is my trimmer. My base is a piece of Bubble Bath cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5. And we're going to score this we're going to score it twice, at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. Okay, so there's 2 1/2, 2 1/4, so there's 2 1/8. And this essentially just bisects the front panel of the card. And then 4 1/4 is the normal place where we would score it. Okay, I think I'm done with that. I don't think I need anything else there. So we're going to fold this. This is just like we would do a normal card at the 4 1/2 inch score line. But then this one, because it's going to go up, we want to fold it that way, okay, toward the inside. Okay, and there's the base for our card. Super simple. No problem. Now, we're going to take a piece of the of the designer series paper. Again, this is Berry Burst. And whoops, this is too short. I must have cut this wrong. Let me do another piece. Let me see if I can find another piece here since I screwed that one up. Boy, am I glad I looked before I... Okay. So this piece should be 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. Oh, I did 5 1/4 because I'm used to doing 5 1/4. Okay, so I've got to see. I spoke too soon. I got to bring my trimmer back out. And like I say, it's just paper. So this is 5 1/2. Well, let's do this one first. 2 1/8. 2. There's a half, there's a quarter, there's an eighth. Whoops. There we go. Before I go any further, there we go. Yep. And then the length is 5 1/2. So I'm going to pull that down here. 5 1/2. I think when I was prepping everything, I got distracted, and that's probably how I cut it wrong. But I'm glad I had others. Okay, let's see. Yep, there we go. Okay, now for this, I'm going to use my green Tombow glue, because when I've got something, the dimensions of this piece of designer series paper exactly match that section at the top. So I need to be pretty precise when I'm putting this on. And so what I like is that the glue gives me a minute to kind of adjust it. There we go. Looks like I'm a little long right there. I can probably trim that off here. I'm going to see if I can do it on this trimmer. Let's see what we got here. I mean, I know I could do these with my scissors, but quite frankly, most of the time I get a better cut using that. Here I'm kind of scraggly. I'm going to trim that part up right there. Ah, perfect. Okay, there we go. Now we are back on track. Okay, let me put the lid on the glue and put it away. So I'm not going to use that for anything else. Okay, now let's see. Let's do the front. So my image here is from the Along These Lines stamp set. I believe this was an online exclusive. Let me see if I've got that in here. Yeah. Oh no, this is in the annual catalog. My mistake. But I really do like it, and so I used that. And while we're talking stamp sets, I also chose to use the right words. I totally forgot. I had to put this together. It's a red rubber cling stamp set. You know, these red rubber sets are going away. After our current annual catalog is done, there will be no more sets offered in the red rubber. Stampin' Up! Was having some issues with getting raw materials for it. But I liked it because it had a lot of good sentiments, and this will be one that I keep. So I used the happy birthday to someone we're celebrating every single day, and I paired it with the Along These Lines cake. Okay, but you know what? I'm going to do something different. I want to stamp my hearts first, and this was a happy accident that I got that pretty well centered under this. So I want to, real quick, do this before I do anything else so that I probably should have done it even before I did the designer series papers, but you know, let's do this right about, let me get my other piece here. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to do it right about here. I've got the little heart. Oh shoot, I moved it. Okay, so let's do this here, right in the center. Oh shoot. That's good. I got a little bit of a halo there, but I think that's just fine. Okay. Well, as long as we're doing that, this is our strip for our sentiment. It's the happy birthday. And this strip is, I believe this is a 1/2 inch wide. Yes, it is. Okay, so sometimes I don't get this exactly centered. And I apologize if my head's getting in the camera. It's a little bit wonky. Let me turn it over and see if I can get it a little straighter. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll go with that one. And I'm going to trim this piece down to about 2 1/4 inches, okay? And I'm just going to use my little guillotine cutter again. 2 1/4. I had a little halo here, but I'm going to cut that off. 2 1/4. And this is going to be a little shorter than 2 1/4. And that's okay. I do this a lot with sentiments. I just kind of estimate and I just kind of cut them off wherever they need to be. So while we're working on that, I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. I think I'll do that and then I'll trim it off. Now I know it won't, I'll just center my sentiment right there. Yeah, I'll use this. Okay, I'm going to try this again here. Do it right about there. And that'll be fine. That works. Yay! Okay, well, I might as well adhere it. And I'll tell you, I didn't put any dimensionals on the front of this card because there are dimensionals on the inside layer. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And I just didn't want to make this too thick. There we go. Okay, you know what I'm going to go ahead and do? Well, we've got this, this is Berry Burst ink. I'm sorry, I'm kind of out of order. I'm going to go ahead and do my stamping for the inside too, and then I can put the Berry Burst away. There we go. I gotta get the other heart stamp. I love this little heart. There we go. Okay, that's done. We won't have to come back to that. Okay, so that was the Berry Burst ink. Let me close that. And now let's get on to our cake. I have stamped this in basic gray. It was just a little more subtle than black, and I thought it looked nice. So that's why I did it. This piece, okay, I think I missed some pieces. So initially, I think I told you the sentiment was 1/2 inches wide by 2 1/4, but you saw I cut it down, and so the mat around that was 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/2, but again, I cut it down to fit. It really doesn't make any difference how long it is. It's mostly, you know, your width, and you can just make it fit. Okay. So this piece of white is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. Double check. 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. Yep. That's all we need this gray for. basic gray. Put this over here. And the piece of cardstock that it goes on is 2 inches by 3 inches. Okay, I got a little bent corner there. Okay, so we're in color. I used 4 different blends. I've got Darling Duckling, Berry Burst, Bubble Bath, and Pretty in Pink. And they're all the dark except for Berry Burst is light. Okay, so I'm going to use my Darling Duckling blend for the flames. Now you notice I'm using this paint, or this brush end, this very fine, let me get it where you can see it here. You see that very fine? Don't push hard on it. Barely touch your paper, because that end will fray and then it'll be essentially pretty useless. And see, there's the other end. Let me see if I can get it. There you go. That's the end I use 95% of the time, is kind of the bullet end. Okay, same thing, I'm going to use the brush end on this just because it's small. And again, I'm barely touching the paper. Okay, there we go. Now I've got Pretty in Pink and Bubble Bath. And I think Pretty in Pink is the top layers. This is the dark Pretty in Pink. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to try the light ones. Light Pretty in Pink and light Bubble Bath instead. And I'm going to see how it looks compared to this. So this is I'm trying to remember which color I used. Okay. This is the Pretty in Pink. Okay. So we're going to color this in. You know, sometimes you might have to color a couple of cakes in, or, you know, a couple images, you know, with different colors to get what works for you. I like this better with the light than the dark. But you know what? It's whatever you want. Okay, color this layer here. There we go, and the rest will be in Bubble Bath. I had considered coloring these in, but you know, the blends, they will seep through to the back, and so they would show on the back here. And I don't like that, and I didn't want to have to do something to fix it, so here we go. Yeah, I like the light shades better than the dark, but you know what? Everybody can do it however they want. Some people color really fast. I don't. Because if I color too fast, I end up going out of the lines. There we go. Oh yeah, I like that color combination. Okay. And then we're going to put it on here. Oops, I got a little bit of fuzzy on here. I have a way to get rid of that. These are like buffing, nail buffer things. You know, for the manicurists use for your nails, and sometimes it works really nice to get some of those frayed edges off. So I try to keep one. I have two different ones. I have that one, and then I have one that has less grit on it. So, okay. Here we go. And we are going to attach this. Now, we only want adhesive on the bottom half. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it like this. And this will help me know where to put my adhesive. just a little bit more. You know, you could doll this up with a bow if you wanted to, some ribbons, some embellishments, whatever you want to do. There we go. The front is done. Now we just have to work on the inside. Okay. All the measurements for all these pieces will be in the description, so don't worry. Now I have another piece of Berry Burst, 4 by 5 1/4. It's going to go right in there. I don't know why I turned it over. Both sides are the same. You know, it's just kind of force I have it. If you remember last week, I was using the back side of the Designer Series paper, and I put the adhesive on the wrong side, so whatever. It's only paper. Okay, there's that. Now I have a piece of Bubble Bath. This is 2 3/4 by 1 1/4, and this piece of white is 2 1/2 by 4. I'm going to put that right on there. Now you could do this with something different. This piece that I'm putting together right now is what holds the easel in place, if you know what I mean. It's what goes, and we bump it up on some dimensionals so we can do that. And I really like that there's this long area to hold the easel in place. You can use things like butterflies or other images or something like that. Like maybe not that cake image because of the candles, but maybe you use something like this dog or this fish here. I don't know if that's a whale or a dolphin. But sometimes if you've just got one thing over here, sometimes it's kind of crooked. It's not straight. But because I have this long edge, it will work to keep the easel straight. So I'm going to do a lot of dimensionals on here. There we go. Now normally you would want to center this. Your first thing would be to center that. But you know what? We don't want to because we need a little space for our easel. So it's going to be centered side to side, but it's going to be further down. See what I mean here? You see that? But then when you do, it looks just perfect. So look at that. That's pretty simple. I think the hardest thing is just figuring out what images and what stamp sets you want to use. So I really hope you like this card. I'd love to see what you do, you know, what your designs look like for this easel card. And now you can be making some more of these. I know I will. I think that they are super cute. And don't forget to tell me, how do you relate to your recipient that this is an easel card, and show them how to use it. I could use your tips on that. Bye everybody. Have a great week. Stay warm, and I'll see you next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Stamping with Denise. Bye now.